The shark in the wine and the shark in the close. This guy loves his daughter, but he loves special effects the most. Is that somebody there?
You're a cantaloupe.
Up his ass.
More cowbell.
The sound of shattering glass.
I'm cooking. The ice is gonna break.
All right, class, welcome back to Walken 101, the class dedicated to learning everything we can about award-winning actor Christopher Walken.
I dropped this class.
That's fine. Unfortunately, you can't drop Walken 101. It's now a part of you. I'm inside you.
Wait, what?
Now we're gonna pull up our big boy trousers past the belly button, Walken's preferred pant level, as we take a look at his most compelling and mysterious role.
Why are you in my private residence?
We'll be looking at the 1989 film Communion, and no, this isn't a religious movie. Stop it! This movie is about alien abduction.
If you were to draw out a diagram of Walken's performances, your life would be sad. And you can separate them into 4 categories: comedic, dramatic, psychotic, and even-tempered. For example, Mouse Hunt is more on the comedic side with a good amount of psychotic.
I won't eat it.
In Pulp Fiction, he's very even-tempered, but is almost right in the middle of comedic and dramatic.
5 long years he wore this watch. Up his ass.
Communion belongs directly in the center of the vortex.
This is the purest form of Christopher Walken ever put on film. It has everything: his devilish charm, his comedic wit, his manic intensity, his infectious dancing, his hypnotic stare. There's, of course, fingertip touching. Oh, yes, you'll find that in there. And just his pure insanity.
Quick backstory on Communion: Walken played real-life author and abductee, allegedly, Whitley Strieber. Strieber had been primarily known as a science fiction writer until his abduction, allegedly, and the film is based off of his best-selling 1989 book in which he told his personal experience with extraterrestrial life, allegedly. In the beginning of the film, Whitley and his family go to this cabin with some friends, and some weird stuff happens the first night.
I've been going on the notion that it was some kind of hallucination, nightmare.
He would go on to have vivid flashbacks of his abduction and struggle with his own reality and paranoia. We do get this brief scene where Walken sees an alien kind of peer around the corner, which didn't really freak me out, but really freaked out a friend of mine, Brad. You know Brad. He swears that this is the scariest scene in any movie he's ever seen.
You scared yet?
Yeah.
Walken brought Strieber to life on screen with an odd bipolar mix of comedy and extreme drama.
I saw something, they saw something.
And his performance is a perfect example of what you can get from him when he's allowed to improv.
Get up! I'm cooking. I'm on a roll. What's the matter with you?
In the words of the great Bruce Dickinson, Walken was allowed to
Explore the space.
The director, Philippe Mora, would let Walken do just that.
I did a lot of improvisation with Chris in some of these more surrealistic scenes. He's a bit of a jazz actor. He does riffs on things.
For example, in an extended uncut scene, the director told Walken to just sit on the floor of the alien ship and try on alien masks.
I can't get out of this!
As a result, his performance is so bizarre that Strieber didn't care for it at first, approaching Walken during production and telling him that he may be portraying him a little too crazy, to which Walken replied, "If the shoe fits." Oof. In Walken's defense, it's a little unfair to say that, he's just acting crazy. Look at him, crazy Walken. Wow, it's goofy.
It's Ridiculous.
But there's a method to the madness here. One thing that Walken does very well in any role that he plays is he reacts naturally to what's happening around him, always in the moment, in the scene. And because Walken is eccentric in general, his decisions as an actor are, more often than not, unexpected.
When he sees these aliens, he's reacting right there in the moment. You'll see when these little guys come in later on in the film, the little blue guys, Chris bursts out laughing. That actually scared a lot of people because it's a natural reaction. He wasn't kind of doing the expositional acting where you're supposed to look frightened or the hokey stuff. In other words, he's an actor who goes against what you expect. I think that's why he's mesmerizing in this movie, because you never really know what's gonna happen next.
There are also a couple character traits in his performance that make him interesting to watch.
Go on, kill it!
First, he's just a regular guy, and that's kind of rare for Walken, especially at this point in his career when he was so well known for playing psychopaths.
Flames rising out of the flowing gasoline.
In this movie, he has a wife. He's got a kid. It's refreshing to watch him play against type like this. Like when he jokes around with his wife as they're going to bed.
Can you say erection?
I'll never say it.
Or when he comforts his son after he has a nightmare.
Go to sleep.
But on the other hand, Walken's interpretation of Stryber is not of a completely regular guy. He's eccentric. He's an artist after all, a writer. And this is where some of the magic happens with Walken's performance.
Another day down the toilet. What are you doing, Whitley? What are you doing, Whitley? Is your video on? Are you wasting time again, you devil?
In any role, it helps when an actor can bring in pieces of themselves to make the performance more natural. In this case, Walken is an artist playing an artist. We get glimpses into the creative process of Whitley Strieber as interpreted by Walken as he's writing a novel. He's like a kid. He gets to stay home all day. He's putting on weird costumes and trying out voices for certain characters in his book.
The gigantic hamburgers and the cold beers for the baseball games on the TV and the bags of the potato chips that are big enough to feed a horse.
And this brief scene where Stryber's going over his notes as he cooks in the kitchen eerily mirrors Walken's real-life method of preparation when he's working on building a character for an upcoming project. In a 2013 interview for Esquire magazine, Walken said, "I stand in the kitchen with the script and I mumble the lines to myself over and over and over. I just keep doing it until I start to notice things."
Really, because, you know, like a knock-knock joke in Hindu, a Hindu knock-knock joke.
Now, all of these natural jazz acting elements, as the director put it, certainly help. But it can be argued that too much naturalism and improv hinders the impact of some of these scenes.
You're gonna check out the house? Why don't you just stay right here? Get
Why
your
did you talk
butt
like
over
that?
here in bed.
For example, take this scene where Stryber and his wife are having an argument.
Why should I pay someone to talk to me?
Because you fired a goddamn gun!
It feels like an exploration of a scene, like this was supposed to be a rehearsal, but it ended up in the final cut somehow.
I'm sitting. I'm sitting. So, you know, lighten up.
And that's what a lot of this movie feels like.
I mean it, this isn't funny anymore. You got a child downstairs.
At one point, I was convinced that there was no real director to this movie. It was just a giant social experiment captured on film.
Don't wait up for me, baby.
Like it was nothing more than a crew that showed up to work every day to film Walken doing whatever he wanted to do.
Ba, ba, ba.
I mean, I know there was a script, but watching these abduction scenes especially, things begin to get very surreal.
I am the dreamer. You are the dream.
Some of the scenes with Walken and the aliens walk this blurry line between what may have actually happened, what may be in his head, or simply letting abstract imagery give a sense of disorientation and discomfort. And then we have anal probe. This scene could very easily be ridiculed, taken out of context, and it has. But the director and Walken portray it completely straight. Walken has certainly delivered his fair share of threats in other movies, but when he says, he really means it.
I'm naked. I'm talking to you like you were real. Go to hell.
Then the train continues to derail into another universe in this climactic scene when Walken meets the aliens face to face. They make faces at one another. They dance. He sees a double of himself as a magician. The aliens are revealed to be wearing masks.
So what the heck is this movie all about?
Aliens?
Hold on.
Someone there.
That's not it. No, I didn't come here all this way. You didn't tell me that that's what it is. Is there something under that one? Because I opened it down. Damn. It's like inside. There's another one inside. You open it and there's another one inside. Inside, there's another one inside. I didn't come all this way. Stop it!
But don't let my opinion or anyone else's sway you from this film. Communion is one of those movies that certainly has its fair share of flaws, but it's worth watching just to see Walken unchained, allowed to pretty much do whatever he wants.
I can't wake up. Can we talk this over? Yeah, it looks like you're gonna sing White Christmas.
Communion may be a little uncomfortable going in, but as long as you relax and let Christopher Walken be the lubricant, Communion will be a rewarding experience that you will gladly welcome inside you.
Are you gonna do a sex crime on me?
All right, next class we'll be pivoting into an infamous story involving Christopher Walken. There's several differing accounts that take place around a body of water, and with any luck, we'll get to the bottom of what happened that fateful day when Christopher Walken may have claimed that he was an alligator.
Look, can you stop doing this? I just found out I might have lupus.
Thanks for watching, everybody. We hope to God you learned something from that. And now let's move on to a topic that's almost as important as Christopher Walken, and that's charity and goodwill to humanity. This episode of Walken 101 was brought to you by Tab for a Cause, which is a Google Chrome extension that allows you to pick a charity of your choice. Then every time you open up a new tab in Chrome, instead of the tab just being blank, it runs ads, and money from those ads is donated to your charity. There's no charge to you, and it does some good for the world. There's really no reason not to do it. And Tab for a Cause users have now raised over $600,000 for charity. It's quick and easy to get started. Just click our unique referral link in the description box to download the extension. Thanks again for watching, and as always, if you like what you see, subscribe and hit that notification bell for future videos. And if you want to support us, just go to patreon.com/thebackfocus.
I am so tired of this. What is wrong with you? Nobody gets scared like that. Nice woman. I am a good woman, and you have a beautiful child downstairs. You have a good life. What the hell do you think you're doing? This is
What the hell?
bullshit. You're so self-indulgent.
I'm inside you. Now we're gonna pull up our big boy trousers past the belly button, Walken's preferred pant level.